Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to another ladder story. Today's replay is a Protoss versus Zerg. Two pros for you today. Up in the top leftish position here we have Motive, who is spawned in red, and he is playing against a notorious streamer and incredibly successful Zerg player. It is Larva. We're on Dominator, always a fun map. Some interesting games. It lends itself to a lot of cool macro games that have been played on this map. Haven't done a PvZ in a little while, although I did do a little snow showcase recently enough, which I really did enjoy. But yeah, we're back to the pros, and time of recording now, it's the 8th of February. The ladder reset around about a week ago. The Pro League, the players are showcasing and testing out a bunch of new maps. I think a lot of these new maps are going to be featured in the ASL. So part of me is very excited and also very curious to see when those new maps actually come to the ladder. And then we can see all of the fun, cool things that are happening. We have a... it was an overpull? Yeah, so we have an overpull opening from Larva. We have a forward gateway from Motive. Okay, so we're going to get a little bit of pressure, which is always fun to see. The Forge meta has become way more in style in recent times than perhaps a year or two ago. I think a year or two ago, Gateway was really the way to go. But Zerg's got really good at fending it off, and I think Protoss has got quite creative at tweaking the Forge opening to get really good scouting intel to be able to adapt and adjust. This is very much a seesaw match where it's a transference and an absorption of pressure between the two races as the game scales on. Alright, so everything here seems pretty normal. Overlord's going to fly in, see what's happening. So yeah, in terms of the pro scene, obviously ASL, everybody's talking about when that will be and speaking about some of the new maps. The other big question, of course, is will Flash return to ASL? Perhaps that's already been answered at the time of recording, I don't know. But I do know that it'll be very exciting to have him back. I think it'll increase just general interest in the product. If the Pro League is anything to go by, the amount of crowdfunding has swelled exponentially since Flash has joined Pro League. The amount of views and attention that Pro League is getting has now also gone up. For those of you who don't know, CNSC covers the Pro League in English, so he streams it live, and I think you can get the VODs somehow. I'm not too sure how. You could have to just check that on his channel. But yeah, man, when the pros are playing and there's money on the line, it does result in some really fun games. I think you're probably going to get a little bit more out of them on Pro League than you are on the ladder. However, the plus side of the ladder, of course, is that you get to see them practicing and testing different builds. And so you don't see stuff that you're used to seeing all the time. I mean, this is pretty normal. Blocking up the ramp, ling counter pressure, trying to stall the Protoss from moving out with his zealots while you're getting onto your build as Zerg. All of that stuff's pretty normal. But you see double Stargates, you see Reaver openings, you see all sorts of fun things from Protosses, and some also interesting variations from Zergs on the ladder, which definitely does make these kinds of games very much worth watching. So, pretty early third from our Zerg, and no lair in sight as of yet. So this could be never mind, as I said, it could be a Hydra build. He pops the lair. So, you don't see Larva do Hydra rush very often. He does like to play with Hydras, and he also plays with a fair amount of static defense, so he mixes up his meta opens transitioning into Hydras. He's one of those players that tries to target down the High Templars. That meta was popularized probably about 2 years ago. So your standard 8 gateway, moving out, pressuring the Zerg in the mid game. Zergs were going, Storm is really killing my Hydra builds, what can I do? And then somebody's like, well, I can make a pod of about 7 meters, and I can target down the High Templars, and therefore trade way more efficiently with the ground army than I could before. And that's pretty much what Larva has done. Soma's really good at this. Jaedong's really good at this. Lots of the Zergs have become good at it because it has made a big difference to the overall balance of the game. I do believe that on average, in Zerg versus Protoss, Zerg wins more often than Protoss does, and that certainly wasn't always the case. Putting a nuisance here with our ling pressure, but does manage to hold on okay. Loses his gateway, which is annoying. But he's replacing it now. Is he making a gateway in his main as well? No. We do, however, have our forge. But our build now, as Protoss has gone into a little bit of paralysis, isn't a whole lot you can do about it. Although, fortunately, the Stargate is already on the way, so he can continue to pump Corsairs. And when he does, he will scout that it is a lair into Spire. Very, very standard opening. It's now the transition that we worry about, right? How much droning is happening? How many hatcheries are we going to go up to? Is it going to be a 6 hatching or a 7 hatching Zerg at the 10-minute mark? Because that does become incredibly difficult to deal with as a Protoss as the game progresses. Alright guys, so we are flying along really well. You know, this game will probably be out sometime towards the end of February or even in the first or second week of March. So I'm not too sure what will be in terms of sub count, but we're on a mission to try and get to 1,000 by the end of the year, and we are getting there. We are definitely making some really good progress. And if you are a regular viewer and you do enjoy the content and you haven't yet subscribed, please do, because it'll help me hit that little mini psychological milestone of breaking through to 1,000 subs, and that would be really, really cool. So thank you. That's the only plug, the only rant or sidetrack or tangent that I have for you for today. And the rest of the time we're going to just be focusing on today's games. Okay, so our Corsairs are out and about. He's going to sense, though, Motive, that there's definitely going to be some Scourge about, because he's battling Speedlings at his front door, and that's usually the telegraph that our Zerg has got some Scourge about. And this is going to be interesting here. Is he going to lose this Overlord at the expense of both Corsairs? Holy crap! Run! Oh yeah, the Overlord's got 6 hit points, and he loses the Corsair. That is turbo sad, man. Turbo sad. Seems like he's going to get back home. Does have the safety cannon, so I can just park him over there and move on. So we're making Hydras. This is very Larva. So he opens Spire, gets his Scourge out, so he can repel the Corsairs effectively, and now he's going to make Hydras. So, how many hatches have we got? 1, 2, soon to be 3, 4, 5. So it's going to be 5 Hatch Hydra. Very, very standard build this. And if we are a Protoss fan, we are wondering, what's our gate count looking like? So we're about to go up to 4 gates. We're getting range. We're getting Storm. Very soon, around this 8.5 minute mark, we should be getting Dragoon range as well as a Robo. We need to start mixing Dragoons into our comp. And then we're going to have a very typical Storm, Zealot, Goon, Observer versus Lings, Hydras, and potentially Lurkers. Motive sensing, though, that this is quite a scary amount of Hydras, and he doesn't have Storm yet. He's only got 1 High Templar. Has to push out a lot of cannons. The DT is a bit of a masterstroke because he cannot now just fire here at in infinitum. He actually needs an Overlord with this, and if we zoom out, there is only 1 Overlord at the moment in proximity, and now he has entered the fray, so he can detect any DTs, and Motive is under some serious pressure to hold on here. First Storm of the game, though, usually a big difference maker. Nice dodge there from Larva. He may be inclined to want to press the advantage, although if these other 2 cannons finish, then perhaps he's going to slow down. Is hedging his bets, right? So he's making 5 Hydras with 3 drones behind this. Evo chamber to get some upgrades going. So I think this is just a pressure with the plan to transition. And based on what I'm seeing here, I feel like that's the right call. So probably just going to hold position here now for the time being. More Hydras in production. I have not seen Lurker aspect being researched, so the fact that Motive has not yet made a Robo, isn't getting Dragoon range, isn't yet making Dragoons, is only making High Templars to try and hold this off, is probably the right response. He doesn't have a High Templar on the map, so he's basically just playing here in the dark. Loses a Forge, so he's remaking 2 in his main. Continues to just make Zealots behind this. And this is looking pretty grim for our Protoss, I must be honest. It's going to have to pull workers here. That's a clutchy storm, though. Clutchy? Clutchy's a good word. That's another decent storm as well. Only 5 or 6 Hydras left with us. A few more incoming. You can watch the steady stream of orange coming through the whole time. And, yeah, if you motive, I'm not seeing you stabilizing here too easily. This is just a very, very well executed 5 Hatch Hydra opening. What's he got behind this now? He's trying to make more cannons. This Archon is gonna... I don't know why he made an Archon. I mean, unless he's used the storms already. But he's doing some work as this Archon. Some more Zealots have joined the fray. This is a real scrap. I think that's the right word, really, to describe this. It's just a scrap. The Corsairs are annoying. They deflect and take away the attention. But I think now if he continues to move forward here, the cannons will do some work. Really just needs another storm. Or to stabilize, needs some more cannons. Needs these cannons to finish. Motive has maintained his composure here really well. And has actually kept making workers behind this even. So that is quite impressive. Larva slows down. Makes a round of macro of drones. Stops making Hydras for the time being. Sees the Corsair. I didn't see when this Corsair was made, but obviously Motive saw the round of drones, realized that he doesn't need to make 1 billion cannons, but just needs to make enough to stabilize. So I think he probably feels like he's achieved that goal. And now he's going up to the standard 8 gateway Protoss that we see. He's got the worker count for this, he's got the base count for this. His problem is so much time has gone. You know, from Protoss point of view, optimally you really want to have a 3rd. And with the level of map control that Larva's enjoying, he's got himself 3 bases and could well set up to take a 4th relatively soon. But with the map control he's got, it's going to be very difficult for Protoss to expand here. So I'm trying to see what the play is. We're upgrading flyer attacks, upgrading missile attacks. We're now pivoting into muters. Okay, so as I mentioned before, the style is when our Protoss gets into what we call 8 gateway man, where he can make storms, zealots, dragoons. We can see the range for dragoons coming in. Hydras alone doesn't do the job. Lurkers is okay, but your most powerful weapon as a Protoss is storm. Okay, and if you are able to, and he's making a robo here in case he does transition into lurkers, these Hydras are unfortunately going to get trapped. He loses all those Hydras for free. Very sad. He's got his round of muters though that he's making. He hasn't shown those muters yet, but I feel like they're about to reveal themselves now. Oh dear, run! Couple of Dragoons into the fray for the first time. Dragoons are terrible though against Mutalists. Yes, they shoot up, but they shoot really slowly. And Muters tear through goons unless they're in serious critical mass. So the Muters are a bit of a surprise. We do see now a bit of decent Muter micro from Larva. He's going to pick off that cannon like it's not even there basically. Probably a decent enough amount of Dragoons here to be able to fend this off. Does pick one off though. Oh, the Dragoons are just also so slow and clunky. Is clunky a word? It's definitely a word. So it's clunky times. Oh, whiffs that storm a bit, but I could see the intent was really good. Zealots have been chased away. They were going to counterattack, but it's just way too many Hydras here. The Larva has got a 40 supply lead. I mean, this is just a superior macro game. And I don't think it'll be too long before he just marches across the map and wrecks Motive. And this was all just really because those initial Hydras did way too much damage, setting Motive back miles in his build. And now on top of it, we're not even making Storm. We've got... Okay, the reason why we're not is we've already got 5 High Templars. So he seems to have enough from a Storm's point of view, but Larva is beautifully baiting out. He's baited out 3 Storms there and taken no damage. And the more Storms he can bait out, the better the Hydra swarm is going to do when it comes out. Just makes 12 lurkers one time. Boom. Alright, where is our observatory? We've made a robo, we don't have an observatory. That is not good. Not good. Not good. So now we have all the things. Could even be doing a drop here if he wants to. Those mutas did so much damage just by baiting out storms, delaying the movement. Protoss doesn't have much of a choice. He's got to try and go for a third. And I think that's the invitation that Larva needs to come and set loose his absolute mass of units. And here we go. It's going to need some serious storms to survive this. Holy crap, this is scary. Look at this. So much of Zerg. Look at all of the spines. Oh, that's a good storm though. Another decent storm. But he's going to be trapped at home. He's got 2 choices. He can storm down the front door. Or he can attack the third. Observer does arrive. A little late to the party, but better late than never. And this is just insurmountable. A very, very convincing win from Larva. Just like I said, did way too much damage with the Hydras initially. 5 Hatch Hydra opening. I do like that he didn't overdo it. Transitioned back into drones. Waited for motive to try and move out and take a third. While macroing up very strongly behind this. And that was a very comprehensive and a very nice win. Guys, let me know if you're enjoying this game lengths and variances. I've been doing a lot of compilations at the beginning of my return to Broodwar. I've been targeting 30-minute plus macro games in my return to Broodwar. And I've sort of steered clear of these games that are sort of 20 minutes or less. But looking around at other channels and stuff, these games are performing incredibly well. So if it's just that the game is, you know, entertaining, action-packed, interesting, something unusual, something cool to see, then let me know. Any feedback on these videos is very much appreciated. As I mentioned earlier, please do like and interact with the video. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. And I'll be back again very, very soon. Until next time, you take it easy.